let's have a quick conversation about Zirtual. And the question is this company a great place to find a virtual assistant or what? Let's talk about that. So here's a synopsis I want you to really pay attention to. So when you think about Zirtual, I want you to think about a company that is currently part of the startup.com platform. And so they actually offer US-based, dedicated, and college-educated virtual assistants. So that's really cool. And so what we love about Zirtual is that they have a wide area of services. So their team can handle tasks like scheduling, event planning, travel booking, invoicing, data entry, and research. So that's really fantastic, okay? And so when you get in touch with their team, they will match you with a virtual assistant they feel will best suit your needs, and you will work with that VA one-on-one. And we love Zirtual right now because while Zirtual pairs you with a best fit virtual assistant, they also share the workload for specialized tasks like, let's say, social media marketing. So if something happens, God forbid, your VA can't handle a specific task or is sick or what have you, they have help from teammates or can even hand it off entirely. So that's really cool. So when you think about Zirtual, I want you to think about a member of the startup.co platform, which tells you a lot already about the prestige about this company, because they've been in business for nearly 15 years. So that's really good. I mean, that tells you a lot about a track record for a company to be in existence for 15 years. It tells a lot about their capabilities. So that's really good. And we love the fact that when you compare Zirtual to other players such as TaskRabbit, Odesk, Elance, Fancy Hands, and Mechanical Turk, what we love about Zirtual is that you feel like you have a company that's really behind you, that really wants to support your projects and is willing to assign the best of the best to your project. So that's really good. And again, we're not talking about really a high, like crazily high prices. I mean, the prices are a little high or a little elevated, but not as high. I mean, you can still afford them. I mean, freelancers can afford them. Small business can afford Zirtual, not a problem. And so can medium-sized enterprises. I want to talk to you about the services. So when you think about Zirtual, what kind of services can you expect? Well, basically, when we talk about Zirtual virtual assistant, you have all kinds of services. It really depends on what you're looking for. But everything starts with your call, what they call the kickoff call, when you call Zirtual to really establish their relationship, to talk about your projects and to talk about your needs and where there are gaps in your vision, and you need staff to kind of help you out. So top services for that Zirtual provide include administrative tasks, data entry, market research, cost comparisons, scheduling social media, website upkeep, and travel planning. So that's an important element to really think about. And so that's an important element, not only in terms of the short term, but also the long run. Because when we talk about travel planning, for instance, you want to have a VA who really understands the importance of travel planning, especially as it relates to your specific projects. Because the last thing you want is to have a virtual assistant who has no idea about your project and the different impacts of the specific task that he or she is assigned to actually undertake. You want a VA who really understands all elements within your business, if you will. So when we talk about inbox management, for instance, which is one of the services that Zirtual offers, you are able to actually hand off everything to them, to a virtual assistant from Zirtual, and he or she will do the job for you. In other words, he or she will go into your inbox, manage it, clean it off, or remove all the spam or what have you. In terms of calendar management, you're able to say goodbye to the hassles of scheduling. That's really good. For expenses and invoices, you are able to efficiently handle expense reporting and invoicing. For a social media strategy, you can boost your online presence through the help of a virtual assistant. For research, you have guided insights for swift decision making. For data entry, you have what we love about Zirtual is that the platform has a seamless integration with your CMS, so CMS content management system, your CRM client relationship management, and more. Marketing, you are able to engage with your audience through emails, surveys, and updated blogs. And Zirtual has the staff, the skills, on hand to kind of help you out. For event planning, here's another area where Zirtual really excels a lot. So basically, you can really improve events from not only from vendor selection to guest list management. For travel booking, you are talking here about seamless trip planning. And for website maintenance, you are able to keep your online portal updated without a hitch. So that's really fantastic. So we love that aspect of things a lot. So I'm still talking to you about Zirtual. This is a Zirtual review. So of course, we're speaking about Zirtual virtual assistant. And so I want to speak to you about the specs. So when we talk about the Zirtual virtual assistant, what kind of specs can you expect? And so Zirtual as VAs specialize in three areas. You have executives, entrepreneurs, and small business owners. So when we talk about executives, for instance, Zirtual will actually help you refine strategies and oversee operations not only from one office but to multiple offices. If you are an entrepreneur, Zirtual VAs allow you to enable progress through effective planning and innovative strategies. And if you're a small business owner, Zirtual VAs will help you streamline processes and ensure time saving at competitive prices. So that's kind of really important to really think about. So when you think about the specs here, you really need to understand it's all about your needs. Zirtual basically can accommodate all needs that you have. So that's why the kickoff call, the onboarding call is so important. Now, this is not onboarding, this is the kickoff call. The kickoff call is really important, and so is the onboarding call, because the onboarding call actually already has your VA. So you have the ability to exchange with your VA and make sure that he or she understands exactly the contours of the job that he or she is about to undertake. Of course, that VA you would have selected, you would have selected him or her, at least had a big say in the selection process. And this is it's an important element, because when we talk about virtual assistants in general, we pay attention to three things: geography, demographics, and chronology. Chronology in the sense that you want to have a VA who really understands the complexities of events planning, calendar planning, and also time accountability. So when we talk about geography, you want to make sure your VA understands your target audience and the location of your target audience and the necessities, the requirements, the constraints that are linked to that geography. Very important element. Let's talk about the evaluation here. When we talk about Zirtual virtual assistant, what kind of evaluation should you be thinking about? In other words, I want to talk to you about the pros and cons, so you have a better idea about this service. So the pros first. You have swift responses, so you get updates or task completions within 2 hours. So that's really fantastic. You have flexible commitments. In other words, you have no binding contracts. You are able to adjust your plans as required. Everything depends upon your requirements. So that's really good. You have a team at Zirtual who really makes sure that your project is on track. You have quality first. So Zirtual is choosy, opting only for the best assistants who are genuinely passionate about the work, not just looking after the next dollar, chasing after the next paycheck, whatever. And they also pay attention to safety and organization. So this company is backed by stringent background checks and secure tools. And you also have a college-educated, US-based virtual assistants. So that gives you a certain level of quality already, right? Because if you're working in this country, you know that the virtual assistant who will handle your case are based also in this country. So there's no outsourcing here. And the pricing is definitely fair. I'm still talking to you about the advantages of Zirtual virtual assistant. And also you have a wide range of VA services on offer. So that's kind of cool in terms of making sure that you are getting the work done with the level of quality that you should expect from a top tier VA service. So what about the disadvantages? I've already given you a non-exhaustive list of the advantages. What about the disadvantages? You have geographic limitations. So being exclusively US based might not serve businesses needing round-the-clock assistance due to time zone differences, no rollover of unused hours. So unused hours in a month cannot be transferred to the next month, leading to potential inefficiency for, let's say, sporadic users. You have specialized task dependence. So for niche tasks, the need to depend on an external specialist can be seen as an additional step. And pricing. I mean, their service tiers might be slightly out of reach for startups or businesses with a limited budget. Okay, so something to really think about deeply. And one thing I want to say also is that Zirtual customer service is kind of slow to respond to complaints. So something to really think about. It's not always the best portrait here. Let me talk to you about the value added here. So when we think about virtual assistant, what kind of value added should you be expecting? First of all, it's important to understand that you have all kinds of requests, right? You are able to request everything in social media marketing, in consulting, in business plan writing, in calendar management, calendar planning, research. You can do call scheduling, for instance. You can say appointment scheduling or rescheduling, restaurant reservations. So what I'm trying to say here is what you have you have a constellation of services, and so when you analyze Zirtual from the value added point of view, you have a service that really adds value across the board. So you have a service that runs that really adds value in terms of your supply chain, because a lot of people, when they think about virtual assistant, they don't want to think about quote unquote niche sectors such as niche departments such as supply chain management, inventory management, warehouse management. Whereas this is one area where Zirtual is really adding value. For the last few years, they've been kicking ass like crazy, especially based on our research. So so they are actually getting themselves into a niche sector here. But to come back to the value added, we love the fact that Zirtual is saving you money. Zirtual is saving you time. Zirtual is saving you resources. If you're able to strategically outsource the things that you can't do or don't have time to do, so you can focus on things that you are good at doing, you are able to increase the bottom line of your company, which means the ROI will be positive. I mean, the return on investment in terms of investing in Zirtual, of course, and also getting a chance to recoup your investments. This is an important element. Another area where Zirtual actually adds a lot of value is in terms of how fast they will replace the VA. So a non-performing VA, Zirtual is really fast in replacing them. So they have that tells you about the depth and breadth of the bench, right? So to be able to replace someone like real fast tells you that they always have folks who are qualified, or if not more qualified, sitting on the bench. So that's really cool, and that gives you, as a client, that gives you an extra layer of clarity, but also stability, knowing that something were to go wrong, Zirtual can act fast. Let's talk about pricing here. So when you think about Zirtual, what kind of pricing should you have? Well, you can see on the screen here. Here is the pricing for Zirtual, and you might say this is too much. That's true, but you got to you don't look at the price, look at the value added, because that's very important. So they have the entrepreneur plan, the startup plan, the small business plan, and the team plan. But you got to ask yourself, what is the value that I'm getting here? So for instance, when we talk about the entrepreneur plan, they're charging you $549, right? $549 per month for 12 hours a month. So that's about $45.75 per hour. You might say this is kind of high, but you have to really understand, you're not hiring somebody full time. In other words, you're not paying Social Security, you're not paying taxes, you're not paying you're not paying insurance, you're not paying all kinds of benefits for that employee. That you are outsourcing your staff, your human capital. So it is what it is, and then you have the startup plan, which will set you back $1,149 per month. So that's really an important element to really think about. But the thing is that when we talk about 1149, you're getting here at 24 hours. So the number of hours goes up. For the small business plan, you have 1449 for 36 hours per month. So you can see that as you go up, then the hourly rate goes down. And then you have the team plan. The team plan is charging you $19.99, so $2,000 for 50 hours a month. So that really comes back to around what, $40 per hour. So it is really an important element to really think about your budget before signing up for this tool. Long story short, the bottom line is, as you progress to larger plans, as you saw, the effective hourly rate improves marginally, but you are able to really see exactly what you're paying for. And one cool feature of Zirtual is the services built-in sharing. So on their higher tier plans, 2 to 5 people can enter tasks to pull from the same monthly hour allocation. So that really is great because it really increases your ROI big time. Let's talk about the rivals here. So the thing is that when you think about virtual alternatives, you are speaking about a very crowded environment. Because remember, outsourced services have developed into a multi-billion-dollar business that shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. So there are loads of companies that simplify the hiring of outsourced specialists. And so when we talk about virtual alternatives, you have Time Etc. You have Virtual Assist USA. You have Byron. You have Fancy Hands. You have Task Bullet. You have Wood Bows. You have a lot of players. I mean, we have actually covered some of them on this show before. But what I want to say is that when we talk about Time Etc., for instance, Time Etc. was launched in 2007 and has been around for more than 20 years, more than 15 years. What am I talking about? More than 15 years. But we love the fact that Time Etc. actually is in multiple countries, including the States and the UK. That's really good. And Virtual Assist USA actually is one of the biggest VA operations in the US. The company based in Pittsburgh has been operating since 2007. So this is an important element. You also have Byron. So Byron is a virtual assistant business that started nearly 6 years ago, a little bit before COVID. So they're based in New York City. So this is kind of cool also. And then you also have Fancy Hands. So Fancy Hands actually has been in New York City for nearly 15 years, now as well. You have Test Bullet. Test Bullet, they have been in business for 10 years. Pretty great company also. Wood Bows have been in business since 2015. They're based in the US and the UK, so that's really an important element. So long story short, what is our opinion? Is a Zirtual worth it? Big question. With a simple answer, yes. Zirtual is definitely worth it. Okay, it's important that you have to really understand of the value that Zirtual is adding to your business. I mean, so Zirtual is an incredibly good use of your money, but you got to have the right plan. You got to have the right strategy also, so that you have a clear idea of what you're paying for and how long you're going to pay for it, though. Because otherwise, you'll be throwing money out of the window, and you really don't need to have that, especially in this day and age. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Here's a recap of today's conversation. So I spoke to you about Zirtual Virtual Assistant. So I gave you the synopsis, the services, the specs, the evaluation, the value added, the pricing, the rivals, and whether this company was worth it. As I answered that question. So thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.